Hello, Leyden. I decided to make this quick video to discuss our school district's approach to masks as we return to school next month. I appreciate your feedback last week, and as I shared, roughly 1/3 of you prefer masks for all, 1/3 of you prefer mandated masks for unvaccinated students and staff, and 1/3 of you prefer masks to be optional or highly recommended. As we've processed through these options internally with the Board of Education and with school districts across the state, there's no easy answer. The CDC says that masks should be worn indoors by all individuals aged 2 and older who are not vaccinated. Earlier this week, the American Academy of Pediatrics went a step further and recommended that masks be worn by everyone in schools aged 2 and older, regardless of vaccination status. Realistically speaking, the idea of mandating mask wearing for unvaccinated individuals is nearly impossible to put into action. We are not going to create a situation where kids use different colored lanyards or IDs based on their vaccination status. We are not going to put stickers on students or publicly identify their vaccination status in any way. We are also not going to create classroom lists for teachers of unvaccinated versus vaccinated students. We want our faculty and our staff focused on teaching and learning and not spending their time determining who needs to be in a mask and who doesn't. Plus, the use of vaccination cards or parent sign-offs to prove vaccination status will not be 100% accurate. I Googled and printed out a blank vaccination card today, and anyone could do the same thing. You're probably seeing many surrounding school districts announcing that they're going to be mask optional or mask highly recommended in the fall. That is certainly allowable within the guidance we have received. However, the guidance also tells us to look at our local health metrics as we make decisions. When I visit the Cook County Health Department's website, I see the following vaccination rates for our local communities. Franklin Park, 46.8%, Melrose Park, 59.2%, North Lake, 53.4%, River Grove, 41.1%, Rosemont, 44.7%, and Schiller Park, 39.1%. Now keep in mind, those numbers are for all people over age 12, and we don't know how those numbers exactly look for high school age students, but I can tell you they're lower. For comparison's sake, I went to the top of the alphabetical list in the county, and I found that Arlington Heights has a vaccination rate of 63.9%, and Barrington's rate is over 90% vaccinated. As we're concerned about the potential of the Delta variant and COVID in general, our numbers suggest that we have a potentially higher risk of spread in our communities. That's the bad news. The good news is that we're seeing very few cases in our communities right now. As I've told you in the past, I appreciate when the state gives us local control. However, I don't think that makes sense when it comes to medical and public safety decisions. So here we are once again, needing to make a medical, public health, and safety decision at the local level. Throughout this pandemic, I've been clear that if I'm put in these situations, I'm going to err on the side of student and staff safety. The same is true now. We are going to begin the school year with our mask mandate in place for all students and staff, regardless of vaccination status. For those of you who suggested masks only for those unvaccinated, again, we don't see that as a viable option for various logistical reasons. For those of you who suggested masks being optional or highly recommended, it's my hope that we'll be able to lift this mandate at some point in the near future. This is especially true if we see positive outcomes in the districts around us as school begins. Please know that this decision was not made lightly. We feel that this approach allows us the ability to start school as successfully as possible and maintain the greatest number of students in person by limiting opportunities for quarantine. Obviously, no decision we make is going to please everyone. However, if our priority is getting our kids in front of our teachers and keeping our kids in front of our teachers, we feel this is the best way to start the year. We want our kids to be able to freely move around, to collaborate with each other, to participate in labs, and do school the way it's supposed to be done. This approach will allow us to monitor what happens when we bring back 3,500 students and occupy our buildings at 100% capacity for the first time in a year and a half. It will allow us to see what's happening in schools across the state and what's happening with our local health metrics. We know there's many more questions that arise from all of this. How will we handle students who refuse to wear a mask? How are we handling lunch periods, athletics, field trips, and visitors in the buildings? We're working through all of that. For now, we thought it was important to share this decision with you, as well as the thinking behind it. As always, please feel free to reach out to me with any thoughts or questions. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you have a great day. We're looking forward to bringing the Leyden family back together in the West Leyden Auditorium on August 10th. We'll see you then.